Go on, Skipper George.
Blackpot, Coco show them.
Next thing. And what does he say? It's rolling on your screen. It says, death trap. Tamale Hospital runs out of gas. Come here. In English, when you say somebody is running out of gas, it simply means the person is running out of energy. Oh, running out of power. Oh, running out of whatever will propel the person into a certain kind of achievement. But in this case, we literally are talking about gas. This is the Tamale Hospital. That's where I was born. In fact, look at this building well. You see where the second black car is parked, opposite the white car in the corner. In fact, I was born on the first floor. On Monday, the 2nd day of September in 1974, at exactly 7:20 p.m. That was when I was born. And when I was born, I weighed 5.5 pounds. In this hospital, that's the Tamale Teaching Hospital. I love this hospital. We used to go around it and play. This was the hospital that helped to bring me into the world. I respect the hospital. But watch this. 5 reported dead due to lack of oxygen at Tamale Teaching Hospital. Oh, Jesus. Investigations by Ghana Web have revealed that death cases at the Tamale Teaching Hospital are rising due to the absence of oxygen at the hospital. Checks at the teaching hospital indicate that at least 5 patients who needed oxygen support may have died between Saturday, February 18 and Sunday, February 19 alone. The patients included emergency and critical surgery patients who needed urgent oxygen support. A relative of one of the deceased who spoke on condition of anonymity told Ghana Web on Sunday that my father needed oxygen support. He was in a critical condition, yet they kept telling us there was no oxygen. The old man died while gasping for breath. Another relative of a patient said doctors kept telling them they as doctors had nothing to do with the situation because it was the hospital's administration that was responsible for the current situation. My brother, we have urgent, emergency and critical surgery cases, yet the doctors are telling us there's no oxygen. The doctors said hospital administration is responsible, yet they are not responding quickly. In my brother's case, we were referred from Havana Hospital yesterday with the indication that this surgery has to be as soon as the ambulance took us there, because every minute counts. Quote from the doctor is over 24 hours now. He's still lying there, not done. The patient's relative said, well, we can make a meaning out of that. Even though the Tamale Teaching Hospital has an oxygen plant, Ghana Web's investigations revealed that the plant has been dysfunctional for some time now, leaving the hospital to rely on a private supplier in town. However, the supplier's plant has also not been working for some time. A hospital source told Ghana Web the situation was worrying because many people die at the TTH. And TTH simply means Tamale Teaching Hospital, because of oxygen-related issues. The death, according to our source, has normally been attributable to the lack of oxygen or the lack of oxygen-filled mobile oxygen cylinders. People die. Many needless deaths here. The deaths have normally been attributable to the lack of oxygen or the lack of oxygen-filled mobile oxygen cylinders, he said. Meanwhile, management of the hospital has said it regrets the inconvenience. Listen to this. It regrets the inconvenience the lack of oxygen supply has brought. Inconvenience indeed. regret the deaths, not the inconvenience. The murder, the assassinations. These are not inconveniences. They are deaths. They are murders. They are assassinations. A statement signed by acting chief executive of the hospital, Dr. Atiku Adam, on Monday, February 20, said management has put in place 2 intervention strategies to see to the supply of oxygen to the hospital immediately by engaging the Tamale Central Hospital, as well as augmenting the capacity internal production unit. It assured that there would be optimal quantities of oxygen, hopefully by the close of work on Tuesday. And that's their statement from the hospital. Come here. Come here. So I am really sad. One, this is the hospital that gave me life. In my days, I can't tell if there was anything called oxygen. Because if in 1974, there was supposed to be oxygen, and today we are running around looking for oxygen from private suppliers in town, whose oxygen is even dried up. Then in 1974, we were using neem tree, the leaves, to blow oxygen into our noses. It hurts me. That's how my mother died. That's why I chose this topic to deal with. And I'm very emotional about this. My mother fell ill. We took her to one of the hospitals in Tamale there, one of those private hospitals, Tamale Private Hospital. Not Habana, another hospital in Tamale. And when we got there, she started choking. The doctors had no oxygen. She choked and died. The same way that the gentleman narrated his father's assassination in that hospital. So what is this thing about Tamale and gas? You don't have oxygen, yet all the doctors have gas in their houses to cook yam and tubani and tuonzafi. It's not their fault. They are there to work. People are supposed to provide them with equipment to work. If they don't have it, they can't conjure that. You can't send a farmer to the farm without implements to work. Is he going to use it? His teeth to pull out the grass? Again, much as it's not the fault of the doctors to provide the equipment and all the other accessories to work with in the hospital, it's about time we sat back to think about the comfort in our homes and the hospital. Who needs more comfort? The sick person or the person who is very healthy? You go to some of the hospitals, they stink like graveyards. They stink like the mortuary, the morgue. You go to some of the hospitals, in Tamale there, in Bimbila, recently we're told that the hospital there had no electricity because the hospital couldn't pay electricity bills. And ECG went there and took off the power. So corpses were getting rotten in the morgue at the Bimbila hospital. Yet, if you go to the houses of the doctors and the nurses, they all have electricity. All I'm trying to say is that the electricity that you are giving to the doctors and the nurses, why don't you rather put them in the darkness and supply that electricity to the hospital? After all, they swore an oath. Listen, they swore an oath to keep patients alive. Every doctor and nurse swore an oath to keep patients alive. That's their first and foremost. So I find it very baffling that a doctor or a nurse would have gas in his or her house when the patient is looking for gas to survive. Jesus. But you have gas to cook gobe. You have gas to boil your fish. Or it's not the same gas that they use. Me, I don't know. Maybe what they are taking is not LPG. Maybe they need something else. Oxygen. But the sense behind it is that, is it about money or the availability. The money that you use to buy the LPGs and all those things around for our own personal comfort. Why don't we rather make the hospitals more comfortable? In other words, shift the money from other areas into keeping people alive. Am I making sense? Am I making sense? That's the point I'm making. I respect our doctors and our nurses. They work very hard. Look at the COVID days. They did all they could, risked their lives for peanuts. But again, they swore an oath to take care of the sick and the suffering and keep them alive. So it's their duty. So I respect them. That's why it hurts me sometimes when a doctor walks into the hospital and looks at the patient and they are slow to taking care of them. Some of them are in their homes. They call them and tell them some patient is dying. No, they switch off their phones and they sleep. You're not a good doctor. You're not a good health worker. You swore that you were going to keep patients alive. I know that the government is not treating you good. That's why a lot of you are leaving the country. So does it become something about the oath or about the remuneration? Is it about the money or is it about saving people's lives? I do understand that you have to come to a certain equilibrium point. It's not about the money, yet it's not about going hungry too. Because a hungry doctor is an angry doctor. Is it dicey? My brother, that's how my mother lost her life. Tamale International Hospital, whatever they call it. She was choking. The doctors were shouting, gas, no gas, no gas, no gas, no gas, no gas. And the young woman went away. We plan to sue the hospital, but in Muslim communities, it's very difficult to sue anybody when it comes to death issues. Say, give it to Allah. All the family members, oh, give it to Allah. It's Allah who gives and it's Allah who takes. They don't even want to have post-mortem to find out what killed. May that woman rest in peace. That was my mother and I loved her. And the other 5 people who died in the hospital, all because there's no gas. Yet the president is building a cathedral. Is the cathedral going to produce gas? Is it an oxygen producing cathedral? So you see those of you who are supporting the president to build the cathedral, I wish that these were your relatives who were dying in that hospital. Then you see the foolishness that is associated with this thing. Why? Tamale Hospital runs out of gas. They are counting on a private supplier in town. He too, he has run dry. And people are dying. Hey! Can this happen in America? Can it happen in Germany? Can it even happen in Afghanistan? If I mean to talk about this, I will talk on and on and on and on. Remember that when Nana Addo is sick today, he won't go to Tamale Hospital. No. For what? Even if he was in Tamale, he would not go. A private jet would have to land and carry him to America. Me and you would die in Tamale Hospital. Then when election comes, we the fools will run around stealing ballot boxes, fighting for dwarfs to come into power. Ghost names all over the place. Dwarfs and ghosts. And we have to pay somebody to come and try and remove the ghost. Those of you who are running around supporting foolish things. If Nana Addo is sick today, he will not go to Tamale Hospital. In fact, even Kolebu is too small for him. Outside. Your Speaker of Parliament had to go to Dubai for treatment. Alban Bakbin. Majority Leader Osei Bonsu had to fly to Dubai. MPs are running to England, Canada, Japan. Who wants to be your president? He was on the doctor's table for major brain surgery in America. But me and you, can we pay for that brain surgery? They will tell us to go and take herbal medicine. If you are lucky, the doctor might just slap your head 5 times and tell you your brain is mixed up. He's putting it back. Go home and sleep. It's pathetic, brethren. It's pathetic. What kind of a nation is this that is so disrespectful of its citizens? We die like mosquitoes and cockroaches. Nobody cares. After all, we are just Ghanaians. To the people who died in that hospital, and to my mother who also died, next time, I don't know if God is bringing you back into the world. I don't know if you will choose this country again. But you died in the hands of wicked leaders. Nonchalant. Why do you give the hospital the chance to operate when it doesn't have such basic things like oxygen? Why should it operate? Private hospital in Tamale. I've forgotten the name. The more I remember the name, the more I get angry. There was a day I was planning to do evil. But God restrained me. Sometimes it's so hurting that you just want to finish it up. Because that woman did not deserve to die. When my brother was calling the doctor, he was like he was being disturbed. The only thing that can save this woman is gas, and we don't have it. So they will fold their arms and watch her die. Can you believe this? To God be the glory.
Go on, skip a judge.
Blackpot. Coco show, man.